Welcome to episode 238 of the Upland Property Experts podcast. I'm too stupid to win. This is Thank You Later, and we're live from Vegas. And we got Dirk. You definitely want to tune in and see how we're going to ruin our invite to Vegas from here on out. Stay tuned. Check it out. Oh, dude, we're Dizzy. You have failed us.
This is Dizzy's fault.
This is Dizzy's fault. All technical difficulties are Dizzy.
Dizzy's supposed to do this button clicking. There you go.
Oh, you're going old school. That's the top one.
No, we're doing old school.
Oh, we're going old school.
Throwback.
It's the Optics Podcast, baby. Glad you tuned in. Got your host, thank me later, and too stupid to win. Might be coming up, session as soon as you begin. Start out king of the street, then locking iconic in. Welcome to Upland. Grab your Optics, man. On your way, and the door hit you with $4,000. Get to buying and gripping, then to selling and flipping. Over to moving and shucking. I'm Scrooge McDuckin in Optics.
Oh my gosh, what a classic.
I missed that song, actually. You know, that was the theme for over 2 years, and you know, we've had the new one for 2 years, so it can't really be new either.
No.
I think we got to commission Mars for a third song.
I think it's time, Mars, if you're listening, it's time for a third song.
And I know he down wants a rock song, so we'll see if Mars can do a rock song to it this time around. You accept the challenge there, Mars?
So maybe we can do something what I prepared for you at the beginning already.
Oh!
So if you click on the link I shared, because I took care of you guys.
He's not even into the hey, we got Dirk here. He's like, I got stuff for you. Let's get to it now.
Let's not waste any time. Let's get to the good stuff. All right. Okay. So this is from Dirk. Okay, so
I got to turn up the volume. Yeah. Are you sharing the screen?
Yeah, we're sharing the screen. All right.
Turn up the volume. No. Continued. What continued?
I hear it out there.
Do you hear the audio?
Okay.
Why aren't we hearing the audio?
No, he's not with us, I guess. Can you go back on sharing? Maybe the audio sound is not shared.
Yeah, hit stop share.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, reshare the screen and make sure.
Welcome, friends, to the Optics
We got it.
I'm Thank Me Later. Let's set things right.
You know me, I will rant tonight.
Hey there, Uplanders. Come on in.
You know me, I am too stupid to win.
From cities built to treasures found, in Upland's world, fun knows no bounds.
On the Xperts podcast, we laugh and play, with funny moments every day. In Upland, where dreams are spun, join the jamboree, let's have some fun.
Okay, we have more.
Welcome, friends, to the epic store, where Upland adventures flow. I'm Thank Me Later, let's set things right. You know me, you'll rant tonight.
You know me, I'm stupid to win. From cities built to treasures found, in Upland's world, fun knows no bounds. On the Xperts podcast, we laugh and play, with funny moments every day. In Upland, where dreams are spun, join the jamboree, let's have some fun.
Welcome, friends, to the Xperts show, where metaverse adventures flow. I'm Thank Me Later, your guide tonight. Too swift to win, let's set things right. Hey there, Uplanders, come on in with tales of triumph where we begin. From cities built to treasures found.
Welcome, friends, to the Xperts show, where metaverse adventures flow.
Spooky
I'm Thank Me Later, your guide tonight. We're too stupid to win. Let's set things right. Hey there, Uplanders. Come on in with tales of triumph. Where do we begin? From
This is
cities
cool.
built to treasures found in Upland's world. Fun knows no bounds on the Opex.
Welcome, friends, to the Upland Show, where metaverse adventures.
Oh my God.
Thank me later. Your guide tonight with too stupid to
Oh
win.
my
Let's set
good.
things
Okay.
right.
Uplanders, come on in.
With tales of triumph.
Welcome, friends, to the OPEX show, where metaverse adventures flow. I'm Thank Mileta, your guide tonight. We're too stupid to win. Let's say.
Welcome, friends, to the Upland Show, where Upland adventures flow. I'm Thank me later. Let's set things right. You know me, I will rant tonight.
I will
Hey there,
rant
Uplanders,
tonight.
come
Oh.
Welcome, friends.
Welcome, friends, to the Opex Show, where Upland adventures flow.
Oh my goodness.
And then goes it. And then Rhapsody version. You can hear it all.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's amazing.
That might be the best
We-
thing that's
We
ever
gotta unmute.
happened.
Nobody's hearing us talk about it either.
Oh well, I think we can. They can still hear us. They cannot
No, you
hear.
muted.
No,
okay,
we're unmuted.
Sorry.
So there you go. Wow, what an amazing gift.
Yeah.
So
You can bring baby backstage, and he's gone, right? So, yeah.
no, you're good. You're good now.
Okay.
All right.
So I used AI, and because I actually want to bring it during the show, right? But
Yeah.
since you were talking about it,
That's so funny.
Yeah.
He's like, you don't even need Mars, Utah anymore. Hold on. Dirk's trying to put Mars, Utah to bed. He's like, hold on. Let me show you how it's done.
He's like, I got 10.
I got 10. Mars, Utah did 2 in 4 years. Look at what we do with AI today. Done.
Yeah.
I got 10 for you.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's, you know what? I don't know. Almost nothing else matters this week now. That is my favorite thing. I'm going to go on the record now. Best thing that happened at GUE, the openings from Dirk, by far.
And, we were up in my room last night. A bunch of us were hanging out, and they're like, "When's Dirk taking over your show? Because he's done it to you every day." We're like, "No, it's seaweed. We're gonna lay it down, and we're gonna control it." And like, we weren't even 5 minutes.
5
in,
minutes.
took
Dirk's
it
like,
over.
hold on.
He's like, I got
this.
All right. Okay. Awesome.
Congratulations on 5 years now.
Yeah, that's 5 years. Right? Actually, it's a little bit more for us, right? Because we started the early first concept in January 2018. Really the first paragraph, right?
Yeah.
And they were actually started, right? And it took a few weeks, and until we incorporated the company and so on. And of course, once we released them, the first version, 6th of June 2019, right?
Yeah.
And someone owns that property.
I was going to say, I think it's an important day because that's probably when the most important property that was ever minted, the first one, right? That's definitely the most. I think we can universally agree that's the most important and special property in the game. And whoever owns that property then would probably be among the most important and special people in the game.
It's perspective.
Yeah, that means it is.
I mean, and we were here earlier, and the Upland staff said that they liked the shirt, but they said I needed to get you a shirt that says non-nonchalantly cocky.
Yeah, it's not nonchalantly. I don't know what you mean, but I tell you what, if you do get one of these handy dandy cards for bingo this week, that's over here. There is a Genesis property owner square, so you will need to find out who owns the Genesis property, which is, of course, the reason for the season. Quite
so you
literally.
can't say right now. Is it a cool person, or is
It's pretty cool. I think he's pretty cool.
Okay.
I think the audience would agree. Those who know would be like, he's a pretty cool guy.
And conveniently, you placed it right in the middle.
Right in the middle.
Right in the middle.
Right in the middle.
You're the free square.
I mean,
so you're cheap and easy.
Yeah, I mean, we're in Vegas, when in Rome, kind of thing. All right.
Well, you got to watch it. There's a baby right there.
There is a baby.
That's a baby. Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the child labor law is different in Vegas. They're
exactly.
starting them
You got
early.
to start earlier, right? So
Is this who's developing your AI? Is that what's going on? You gotta start them early.
They pick it up pretty quick.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't doubt it.
very fast, I tell you.
Oh,
All right.
goodness.
Good.
No. Now, a lot to unravel in the time that we have here. Once again, thank the Upland team for inviting us here for our third year in a row to doing the show. Really appreciative of it. And I continue to expand my Vegas trip each year. So I do appreciate that.
Right.
The first day you had 24 hours or so?
Less than 24 hours.
That's true.
Less than 24 hours in, I was out. And last year I caught a red eye Saturday morning that was bad. And so this year I actually got in a couple days early, ended up meeting up with Dizzy in Minneapolis, we flew out to Vegas together. And then Thank Me Later finally gets in and he hits me up. I'm like, bro, it's like,
yeah, we got halfway across the strip. So I land Tuesday night, and Robzilla and I are like hoofing it down the strip. It's 100 degrees in the middle of the night still, and we're like almost there. We're like past the Bellagio, and we're like, all right. I'm like, all right, dude, we're like at Aria. Like, oh, where are you? And he's like, I went to bed. I'm like, wow, man. Really?
Like, you text me while I was in the shower, and then I got out of the shower, and I'm like, ooh, dang, you're trying to meet up with us. I'm like, I'm beat, ready for bed.
Yeah.
And then last night, I was like, balled out till 5 in the morning. So,
despite all that, and you got to keep this just between me and you, because I can't let anybody else know about it. I'm still going to invite you to the TML secret party that we're not talking about. That Noah
secret party dog tag that nobody knows about.
No one knows about it. It's super secret.
Okay.
Also, if anybody else with a dog tag finds you and then asks you if you have your invitation to the party and you don't, you will be docked 100 points from the game. You don't even know that you're playing.
Now that's interesting. You got a game that you don't even.
There's a game inside the game. There's always deeper levels. There's always higher layers. You just got to know where to look. And this year, there's some secrets to be found. So I'll leave it at that.
Nice. All right. So going into year 5, technically year 6, but year 5 from the first property minted in the game.
Absolutely.
What are you most excited about for the community?
For this day, for this week, or
just
in general?
In general, for this next year in Upland.
Well, in general, because we're most excited, that we give more and more the opportunity to participate actively, right? Remember when we launched Upland, right? You couldn't do a lot, right? You guys weren't there, but at the beginning was not even Apex there, right?
Right.
And you couldn't. And now we're adding more and more things how to involve the community, right? It starts first, that you can create stuff, which we're gonna put into Spooky Dookies.
Yeah, Spooky Dookies.
Right, stuff like that, right? So that's one thing.
Spooky Dookies.
Then we're big believers in everything which has to do with social, right? We have the, can see, we want to, have some news around that. I think that's what always the vision was, right? It's going to be community owned, right? Of course, you need to have someone like us driving certain things, but eventually, how cool would it be, like in 20 years that Upland's completely community run, right? And but you need to set the framework for that, right? So that's what I believe. But that's what I think is the most exciting thing, and I'm always, really, really, astonished, surprised, whatever word you use, what the community is producing, right? In terms of creativity, things we cannot come up with, right? And it's only going to get better going forward.
And that social aspect, when do you think we're going to see that in the game? Because that sounds pretty cool that you're going to be able to follow your it might not even be a friend in your game, but somebody that you want to watch that, hey, what moves are they making? What properties are they buying? And you're going to be able to follow them just to see that social transaction. Like, is that years off, or is it something we're looking for soon?
It's I cannot give an exact time frame, right? So you will see, but I think it's going to be also a different level of socialization, right? So we have something which is more 2D. So when you look at the chat today, right, it's a 2D thing. But eventually we have the cafes now, right, or the movie premieres, remember, right? Where people go and they gather together. And then we have everything outside of Upland, right? But eventually we always said our strategy is move everything was a little bit more outside, right, inside. Because we know that, for instance, in Discord, there's always, it's a repetitive, maybe 50, 100 people who are very active, right? And 10 are super active, to be honest, right? But, there's a lot of people who are not even on Discord, right? But who would also probably participate in, some of the socialization, communication. That's why we believe, and Upland's actually made for that, right? It's because, and I think you guys said it, I heard it also everywhere, Upland is people are coming for the game, but they're staying for the community, right? That's what we
100%.
believe, right? That's exactly
For sure.
right. But you still need to have the game and as a thing. But at the end, we're all social animals, right? And when you see games, usually the most successful games are always those who have a big social component. Right?
Yep.
And that's what we're going to have. And that's a clear path of our strategy.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm definitely, as somebody who is a gamer, and I can definitely attest to that. Gaming brought me in, but the community and the social aspect has kept me. Definitely looking forward to things like more configurable user profiles, or being able to, I mean, if we're talking about connecting networks, are you looking at things like having a user profile where I can link my socials? I know with the recent, like the Sparklet, project of wanting to get your Twitter followers and things like that. Is there an option to start looking at being able to say, hey, here is my Twitter, here is my YouTube, and that way when people are looking at, say, our top profiles, and again, it incentivizes top players to have those kind of socials connected when somebody's looking at, say, my profile and going, hey, who is this player?
Yeah.
How do I look about that?
We have to be smart about it, right? How we bring in third-party social into, because usually you would go to the app itself, you go to Twitter or whatever, YouTube, try to do the things there. So I'm not so sure how people would, consume it in the app. It needs to have
just a link.
Own social.
Just like a link. You're just like, hey, when I go to Thank Me Later's profile, it's like, here's a link to his YouTube. Here's a, so like a bio.
Okay, that's something also we're constantly working on. I mean, I see clearly, your profile as becoming more like your, what's the right word? Like your locker, your wallet, your passport, everything, which then includes also the links, right? So I go on the profile from Thank Me Later, right, and I see everything what he does or what he's doing in the app, what he is.
Yeah.
But then see, here's my external things. I see that we could have. To be honest, we don't have active plans, but at the end of the day, people would find you also otherwise, right? So,
because not everybody's Twitter matches their Upland handle and things like that. So I think, again, especially if you're pushing towards that social connection, like it would be great. And then also, like I've definitely seen some activity with in-game chat. Some people have reached out, but definitely those other channels where if somebody's not in-game chat, if I have my Twitter handle, getting a DM on there, or if somebody prefers Instagram, giving players other ways to connect, I think would be an important social element.
Okay, yeah, point taken. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
Now, did you see the suggestions that Thank Me Later made a couple months ago? Just for the utility, your basic functionality.
Yeah, basically Mm-hmm.
Is that in the pipelines of being?
Few things are being developed. No, we discussed it internally, right? I mean, especially the community team, right? They write things down and so on. Of course, then you have to put some on the roadmap and everything. Bring things together. And to be honest, I mean, I know we are not perfect, right, in terms of user interface and so on. I see that myself, right? That's when I'm playing, right? I also get stuck sometimes. Like,
why did I do this?
Exactly.
Why did I let them do this?
Yeah, I know but Upland is a complex beast at the end of the day, and of course, it's not that like it's easy, to solve everything, right? And also users tend to be different and so on. Now, I also see that in the future that AI will help us, right? That you get individualized user experience, right? But we're a little bit far off of that, but that's how I see it. And then it becomes, really so individual for you that that it becomes part of your daily life, right? That's because it's so easy just to use and to interact with it, right?
No, that would be fascinating. As I've mentioned before, my day job is an enterprise architect, and what they're doing with AI is very fascinating. I can see there being a day, and I know this sounds kind of crazy, but like you log in, it's almost like you open up your Upland newspaper, and it's like, hey, here's some suggested properties for you to buy based on your buying history. What kind of margins you normally like? Where you like collections? Like based on your buying history, here's 5 new properties that came up for sale last night. Like, oh, cool. Let me take a look at these. Like,
all those typical things, e-commerce things, right?
Yeah.
People who bought this also bought that, right? All these things.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed, right? It's just a matter of priorities. You're an architect, you know how. I wish we would have 500 more developers, right?
Yeah,
we could do things.
Points and the other thing is like sometimes like you can't like if it takes 20 minutes to bake a pizza, you can't bake if you have 5 ovens, you can't make it in 4 minutes, kind of thing. Like
Right.
sometimes scaling doesn't necessarily resolve some of the issues that just take time.
Yeah, but that's also the reason why we keep on continue to push, the third-party developer platform, because obviously we believe, it's not, we cannot, we're a small team, and we cannot always come up with all ideas, right? I think that's why we have that, right? I clearly see somehow Upland more at the center, right, of things, where you go, always you go, it's somehow your home, right?
Yeah.
You do things there, you meet people and do it, but then you also jump into other worlds, right? Some kind of a portal or so, right? That's where we are. So I also, because there's always maybe this word, what does metaverse actually mean, right? As you know, in the, when you look around right now, less people using actually the word metaverse. I just checked, Roblox, which is a huge virtual world, right? I looked at their app store profile. They're not even using the word metaverse, right? Maybe they use it because I don't know, it's targeted, but what I saw, I did see only they were using virtual world, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting. Of course, the marketing words come and go, even though the concept of the metaverse and what the metaverse is, 3D internet, I interact there and I do stuff, that's gonna be here, that's coming, that's for sure. How it's gonna be called, I don't know at this point.
But don't you think that's because of honestly Facebook? Like, as soon as Mark Zuckerberg bought Meta and tried, I feel like that was an intentional
rebranded to
rebranded Meta. I think that was like a targeted attempt to disrupt the advance of the meta venture or the metaverse, because the reality was, like, Facebook being a Web 2 kind of very centralized, very much control, and I see that as a direct target attack and go, well, best way to do that is just poison the well. He makes Meta. Best case scenario, it's wildly successful, and then he's the king of the new metaverse. Or worst case scenario, it's terrible, but he's also now just poisoned the well for metaverse.
Yeah, exactly.
Elsewhere. Like, I saw that as a major shot, and then everyone is switching to Web 3 to talk about it for sure.
But it doesn't sound as fun as see you out there with Web 3.
No, the metaverse. But I also think
we have used immersive world. So it's metaverse was somehow a word you can grab, right? In a certain way, even though you don't know exactly what it is. Our story, right? When we incorporated the company, right? I had our URL. We picked upland.me for metaverse. Right?
Okay.
Right. That was in 2018. But then I said, no, we're not going to use it. No one knows metaverse, except for people who read, Snow.
Yeah.
Right. And then in 21, Mark Zuckerberg published this video, right? And all of a sudden, everyone was talking about the metaverse, right? And obviously, he showed in the video a 3D world which was not there yet. Right? He was showing his Facebook vision of everything.
Yeah.
Right? But then people got his wonder why it's not here, why can't do it, and so on. And anyway, so that here we are. But it's for sure something is coming. When you look at, I mentioned Roblox. I think Roblox has 60, 70 million daily active users. I mean, mostly kids. Because it dies off at 16, 17, right? That's exactly where I think we as Upland can come in, right? When they were ready to move on, right? Okay, maybe they go then from Roblox to Upland, right? That's some part of our strategy also.
So you're saying there's something working with, you mentioned Roblox a lot. Are you guys working something behind the scenes?
No, it's just,
it's the most coherent model of like where it really could be. And I mean, again, it shifts from like this really gamified, and there are opportunities to actually make money in Roblox as a Roblox developer. But then this is, I think, kind of the big leagues, right? Like, honestly, Roblox, like you said, it is for a much younger audience. I think there's definitely big money to be made there, but it's still very select. This is a new opportunity for, like you're saying, like the layer 2 developers to really build what could be like that stepping stone from Roblox. When they're done with it, 16, 17, they're ready to graduate to the actual big money and the more interesting development.
They'll play it in the 20s.
Oh, well, yeah. And I mean, I would still activate my Neopets account. Are you kidding me?
Right.
Do you remember Neopets?
Oh, yeah.
I would still play Neopets if I wasn't banned for life.
Yeah. I don't even want to talk about you got banned for life from Neopets.
Market manipulation.
Oh.
They started.
Pay attention to this.
They actually, what's funny is they had, because it's a child's game, but they had these markets and they started retiring items. So they're like, we're no longer going to make these items. And I started buying conglomerates where we would go and we would buy up all of these retired items from the shops and then mark them up at a significant price. And I started posting forums and getting people to do it and started a buying collaboration. And they're like, this is not in the spirit of the game. And I got banned for life. That's a true story.
Can you just use another email? Would they find
Not
out?
the same. I could, but it's just not the same. I had it all set. I had fish nags for days. You don't even know. No, the rainbow nags. Oh, anyway.
Speaking of collaborations, you guys announced a big partnership with Sandbox. How do you see that?
Yeah.
How do you see that playing into the next year of Upland and where we're going in the future, not only in the next year, but the next couple of years with this partnership? Because a lot of people are like, oh, some people were surprised. I'm like, I kind of saw something like this coming since, you know, they're co-founders of the
Metaverse Alliance.
Yep. And then, you know, American, or I always say Americo, it's Amico.
Animoca brands.
And you know, they were big investors in your guys' Series A funding, and they're owners of the Sandbox. So I always thought that some sort of partnership would happen. But what do you see as being a founder of how this is going to be good in the next year and in the future?
Yeah, so first of all, I mean, we're going to talk about it, you know, tomorrow about it. Right? We have someone coming in from Sandbox, so I don't want to spoil too much at this point, right?
Well, that's our job, is trying to get you to spoil a little something.
You got a few to be like, oh, you know what? I think I missed that announcement. Who was that again?
So, but maybe the bigger picture, right? I think. So I read a research study lately, and I can share the numbers. And don't get me wrong if I get numbers not totally right, but there was a survey, right, that people spending 60% of their playing time in games which are 6 years and older, right? Minecraft, Roblox, right? Fortnite, all these kinds of games, and also, you know, there's little room for really new games. It's very hard to break into those, right?
Yeah.
So what you need is actually something new, something which is different, right? Or in the tech language, you call it a paradigm shift, right? And that's what is actually the open metaverse promises about a little bit, right? Instead of everything being, as in Fortnite, right? You're there and it's walled down, you play and you can do everything, but you cannot take anything out, right? Obviously, right? So that's the problem. So, and with the open metaverse, the idea is, you know, it's sort of being platform-centric, you're being user-centric, right? Now, this has a lot of consequences in terms of incentivization of you know, of how people act in those worlds, and where the value actually is, you know, being shared, right? But I tend to say that in Web3, value is much more shared than in Web2, right? With communities, with the users, right? So if you look, I can give you a concrete example. Right now, if I would be a Web2 company, as you know, we have given out, not we have not given out, the players transacted between themselves in Upland, right? And like this, a little bit more than $15 million, right? We're between the players.
Wow.
So, and now they're just thinking about it. And I'm a Web2 company. I said, no, that's my revenue, right? Okay. So this is what is new in Web3, right? Is they're saying, okay, we're sharing that value now with the, you know, with the community, with the users and such. And this is part of the paradigm shift which we're seeing right now. But you can only achieve that when you start to collaborate. So that's the first level, right? And the second level is then, once you have those assets, you own them, you want to use them elsewhere, right? And now, instead of trying to build the next Fortnite or Minecraft or whatever, what you do is actually that you partner with other metaverses on the Web3 space, right? And now users, they say, okay, you know what? I can take my asset from this world to the other, my identity, and what have you. And now people say, you know what? I'm going to play more or spend more time in these worlds because I can really develop, like your problem with Neopets. You don't want to give it up what you had there.
Yeah.
It's exactly that problem, right?
Oh,
because if you could have taken out your stuff for Neopets and take it elsewhere,
I would pay ungodly amounts of money.
See, it's exactly that.
Yeah.
And this is what we're trying to achieve. And that's why we say, okay, we as Web3 companies, we have to work together. And that's why we started the Open Metaverse Alliance to bring forward interoperability. Because today, you need to have standards in order to make this happen, right? The normal web would never have happened, right? If we wouldn't have the HTTPS or HTTP standard, because then applications wouldn't talk to each other.
Yeah,
Okay?
but when you're talking standards, you're talking like technical standards. So like the configuration of my certificate is compatible with this blockchain and this blockchain, right? I'm more concerned.
I think it's even more that our assets meet this design criteria, and then it can go into this
So
game
what-
and that game.
when
No,
you
I'm
say
talking
design
about
criteria-
application level. I'm talking really at the front end user level. I think that's what you mean, right?
And so my classic example and my concern as a player of anything would be like, okay, so we have cars in Upland, right? That car has a bunch of stats. The value of those cars is based a lot on that stat, its rarity. Well, if we were to take that car and move it to say a different platform that also had racing, is the standards talking about that gamified level that says, well, hey, when you're doing car, here's your minimum spec, here's your maximum power level, and here's what a power level like standardized. Because if my car is the equivalent of a really bad car in somewhere else, but it's really good here, I'm worried about the depreciation of my assets. Or if all of a sudden the deal with Sandbox, like they have some cars in Sandbox that all of a sudden Upland goes, yeah, those now have a power level of 200 whatever, and they can compete with stock cars and all these other things. Where all of a sudden I'm like, well, I don't know how I feel about that. 'Cause I don't know how much the value is in the other game for these high value cars, and now you're saying they're the equivalent of my asset. So as the owner who's kind of making that decisions for the players who own these assets, like you're kind of making business decisions that really affect the value of our assets. So I am curious, like how that comes into play.
Yeah, but that's exactly what we're trying to work on, right?
Yeah.
OMA 3 is nothing which happens overnight. I mean, we're developing the portaling solutions where we have an alpha version where you're in one world, you look through a portal, you see the other world, you can walk through.
That's super cool.
Right? So, but technically very, very challenging. Okay?
Yeah.
But as you said, but we're staying with the car example. So it's really very much like in the real world. When you take, your car drive, from here to Canada, you don't park your car at the border and buy a new car, right? That's what you do in the Web 2 world, right? You take your same car, the car has the same odometer, maybe loses, of course, you're crossing the border, right?
Yeah.
And maybe it has some damage because you had an accident, what have you, right? We can still drive that car in Canada, right, as such, right? And that's the vision we want to accomplish also with OMA 3, right? Also, but when you go, for instance, from a Upland car to the Sandbox car, because they have this voxel graphic, you've probably seen it, right?
Oh, yeah.
You need now to translate the design. You need to translate the metadata. The devil's in the detail then, of course, and it's not easy.
Yeah.
So why we now announcing this partnership with Sandbox, first of all, it's going to be probably multiple phases. And we have also to see how our communities are accepting it. Maybe they're not interested. Maybe it's completely different, because it means also for us that we have to develop things. It costs money, costs time, and opportunity costs. You cannot do something else, what have you, right? But maybe it works out because we all don't know, right, how people will act. And then we will have those phases. So at the beginning, I cannot tell too much. We're going to talk about it a bit more. You almost got me, right?
That's our job.
Eventually, the idea is, to have, this bilateral, starting points with some worlds, right? And then going forward. By the way, this is also exactly what we're doing with our third-party developer platform, right? You're creating assets in Upland, maybe, and you're taking those assets into the other game, right? Which is awesome. And when you're done playing, or maybe you lose your assets, someone else won it, right? Because you lost a race or whatever, right? Then this other person can take it back to Upland, put it in their metaverse, and sell it, right?
Yeah.
So this is really exciting. This is what I'm talking about, this paradigm shift, what you don't have. This is really something new.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I mean, it's exciting. Again, anytime you talk about like merging economies, that's obviously very concerning. I think as somebody who's put in a lot of time and money into Upland, I was really pleased when we saw the economic downturn of crypto and how Upland was kind of isolated because of the way that you had structured the economy. I think you fared the best of any Web3 and metaverse company at the time. And so I go, someone like Sandbox, if we bring in that economy, like, again, I don't know, like if they have cars, how many cars do they have compared to us? And if there's not standards on like a rare car means that there's 10 or less, and then all of a sudden we connect to an economy that has 1 million cars, then I mean, I don't know, what does that do for our value or their value? Maybe ours are now super rare, but if there's faster, I worry about those kind of mechanics when you start talking about moving assets from one chain or one game platform to another gaming platform. How do you balance out the functionality that's,
Yeah. So truth is, I cannot give you a complete answer, right? Because we have to figure those things out.
Yeah.
And as we always say, Upland, we want to build, stable economy, right? We're going to take care of those things, right?
Yeah.
So, and of course, we don't know, if there's another game which has millions of cars and they're all going to come into Upland. So how you would do that, because we have different categories of cars today already, right? With the cars, with, whatever.
Yeah.
What you do then is basically saying, okay, there's a special category of cars, right? And when they come to Upland, they are in their own little, what you call it, bubble or whatever, right?
Yeah.
They can do some certain things, but they don't impact the value of the others directly, right? Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, but I think you're hitting a good point, but we have to figure those things out,
Yeah.
right? In a certain way. But if you really watch the macro, high, top level at the end of the day, because you have the micro view on just our ecosystem, right? But when you think all ecosystems are working together, then when from an economy, you will have equilibrium being created across the whole broad universe, right? That is the ultimate how things come out in market economies, right? Yeah.
Well, but it's a capitalist economy too. So like the concern is like everything you're saying is this great kumbaya. All these major companies all vying for space and shelf space and eyeballs in this gaming area, going, hey,
like getting an end cap.
Yeah, like let's all collaborate and your assets will work here, my assets will work here, until somebody's like, well, I'm going to make an exclusive asset just for this, or well, we want our value to be this compared to that. Like, is Upland defending the Upland player of going, well, no, our cars are the most valuable, because that's so my concern about, and I'll be very honest as somebody who does really am interested in layer 2. I'm very interested in layer 1 of like how you work together with each other, in the sense of I think trying to solve that on the layer 1 issue would be very difficult, where layer 2 can again take it with almost like non-judgmental and go, okay, we can balance out the cars from both as far as power from a racing perspective, but not muddle the economies, and leveraging the technology. I think the technology that you did with the not the leasing, the hold. Dang it, I just spaced out. When you put an asset in hold, not escrow. Yeah, the escrow service. Because when you're talking about moving from one asset to another, if you take the car in real life example, it's like driving to the border of Canada and then Canada going, oh, that's a nice American Mustang you have there. We're going to put you in a Canadian, we're going to put you in a Canadian version of it. We'll keep your beautiful Mustang. Like, this one's the first Mustang that rolled off the line. You're like, no. We're going to give you this one that we made ourselves. And then so you can drive around Canada with it. And then when you're ready to go back to the States, we promise we'll have yours. So now you're dealing with, you're not driving your car through Canada. You're giving it to the Border Patrol, aka Upland, to hold on to you. And then they're going to give you another one that's a duplicate, right? Where the escrow, you always maintain your asset. And so you're just going, hey, you can borrow it for a second, and I have a smart contract that I know I'm getting it exactly back, and then leveraging it that way. But anyway,
you can go. Yeah, you can go that way. Like in real life, you heard it right. There will be no big, no taxes, on import taxes on Chinese cars in the U.S. Right? That's what the current administration is planning, right? They want to protect the economy, right? So you have that also in real life, right? However, I'm a big believer in open trade. However, in gaming, you still need to fine-tune things, right? And again, it's some ways where no one has gone before, and we have to try out things. We're going to do some mistakes on our way there, yes, probably, right? But hopefully, in the long run, it's going to be,
No, it's a fascinating. It's going to be a fascinating new set of systems, because you're dealing with virtual world. So all of your physics are made up, right? In the real world, Ferrari can't just be like, we're the fastest, right? You can't just say, I go infinite speed. You have to build the engine that does it. Digitally, you don't. You can just go, we're super fast. But so how do you balance that out? How do you put those limits on people? I'll be very fascinated by how it goes.
Yeah.
All right.
And then for the people tuning in live, we're not close to the computer, so we can't see your comments. And Dizzy ghosted us.
Oh, yeah. Dizzy. He's out there on the strip. He doesn't even know. He's not watching.
And then usually when we're here in Vegas, he'll do the production side of the house, post the comments, and let us know when questions come up. So we do apologize if we're missing your questions. It's just the computer's across the way from us, and it's not right at our access. So, did you see anything good in there? Thank me later.
No, I mean, lots of good comments. Keep them coming in. No.
Good comments with them.
No, I mean, I think, good conversation. We're good.
And then, everybody has the question of when Sparklet. Are we getting closer? I know we're definitely closer than we were a year ago, but how close are we?
So tomorrow.
That's it. Tomorrow. All right. You heard it here first.
During the next 30 seconds, because it's not tomorrow. But
well,
maybe.
Tomorrow we have an extra session on Sparklet.
And that's why we try to get you to talk ahead of time so we can break the news.
All right. So it sounds like you're going to want to catch that session tomorrow for sure.
Yeah. Now, it was interesting this year. Usually you make some announcements of releases to the Upland community, and it involves the whole community. This year, you guys kind of did a different twist with the private aviation. It's for basically executives and above currently. So that was a little different twist. It wasn't for the whole community for airplanes, but it was to reward the players that have put in the time and the effort too. So, but could you walk us through that difference?
So, well, I mean, first of all, when you run something, you want to reward people who are engaged, right? In a certain way. And
sure.
We don't want people to. That's a simple explanation.
Okay.
To my mind. There's nothing a lot more to that.
Yeah.
Right? That's right. People are engaged to do things, and and because then hopefully motivates others to get motivated as well.
All right. I'm gonna ask the hard questions. Was private aviation, how long has private aviation been the plan for your release for Genesis Week?
When we talked about it, not too long ago. I mean, it was always on the roadmap.
Here's my theory. Here's my theory. I'm sorry to put you a little bit on the hot spot here, but I really feel like there was more or something else expected, maybe that you were trying to maybe do with totems and STEM, but I don't know what happened between the first wave and the second wave, that there was just a massive cutoff of communication, insight. All of a sudden it just went real dark real quick for a very long time, way longer than anybody was expecting. And so in my mind, I was like, I wonder if there's going to be something more, if the plan was more for Genesis Week, but something happened that delayed all of that. And now the planes is kind of oh, well, hey, this is another thing and it's super cool. But it's not as big as some of the announcements we've seen before. Honestly, cars and Spark.
Yeah, well, the thing is, to be honest, private aviation, I mean, I first of all, I love the visuals. I think the team has done an awesome job.
Oh,
again.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
For sure.
And I still believe it's a for some people, it's really big. They really love that, right? And we're honest, right? We have been, especially Dan and I, we've been very focused on everything Sparklet, right?
Okay.
It sounds so easy. Oh, why don't you just make a token tradable?
Right. No, that's not easy.
There's a lot of technical implications, regulatory stuff, all the hours we spend talking to lawyers, right?
That's
understanding fair. And not understanding things. So that's also, of course, then it distracted us a little bit. However, I would not in any case. I think aviation is great, right? It's a good thing. That's what.
Sure.
We know that. The community, many people in the community just love these kind of things, right? So that's why we launched.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I think people think it's fun and interesting. Again, I think it's just maybe not the same. I think there's just
you think the same, or
I You guys have done such a good job with G Weeks.
I know,
wasn't
G
wild
Weeks,
this year.
yeah,
I
I was
wasn't
like,
wild
oh,
with the aviation
okay.
this year.
Yeah, but also
Everything else is like, wow, yeah, G Week's always awesome. So, but there's still tomorrow, and you can still wow us tomorrow. But
No pressure. No pressure.
no pressure.
I like to be like, well, you haven't wowed us yet, Dirk. But
Like,
you know what? He did.
he
That's,
did
you know
what-
what? We should apologize. He probably would have had more time, but he was too busy doing new intros for us.
Absolutely.
There would have been more depth. It's like,
I
That's our
literally
fault. He was
spent.
doing our-
Because I wanted to know the software I was working with. Also, I understand. I try also things always out, right?
yeah.
That's how I can now understand how you. Because unfortunately, I don't have so much time to create stuff, right? But it's
Right.
so much fun, right? I
Yeah.
literally spent last week Saturday the whole day. My wife said, "How are you doing?" You said, "No." She had to listen to her. I actually.
Oh my God.
Variations. And I said, "Which one do you like?"
Oh.
Right, and then
And I'm going to tell him, I go,
Poor
look,
wife.
even the co-founder of Upland loves our show so much. He got yelled at by his wife creating stuff for us.
Yeah, that was all for you, of course, guys.
It was a teaching moment. We do appreciate you.
But you know,
wow us with that.
that showed me really that somehow we are on a good right path with Upland. This whole pushing the creator economy,
Yeah.
because instead of just consuming things and sitting back and doing nothing, creating so much.
Yeah.
I wish I would have more time, and I think that's. I hope we can push that more in Upland. We want to push that more,
For
right?
sure.
Yeah, and it's the AI is gonna do bigger. And they're looking at a lot of solutions at the moment. We're working with a provider called Kadem in the backend already.
Mhm.
We're creating assets, 3D assets. I just talked to Jason. So he showed me upcoming assets that he said impossible he would have able to create that with his current team, right? In such a short moment.
Oh, yeah.
So it's really significantly changing the whole. Really people we didn't like Blender or Photoshop, right?
Mhm.
People use videos, so now I can use my voice to create stuff. Even, not
Yeah.
being I'm a big music fan, but I'm not super talented on music.
Yeah.
Idan much more talented and with guitar
Oh.
and stuff. So, but that's this is so mind blowing what you see there now, right? And
Yeah.
but you need to have actually a place. So what I always say is there's a magic triangle now, okay? What I call it. So one is now you're using AI to democratize content creation. That means anyone can create stuff now much easier, right? It's
Yeah.
just voice, right? So that's the thing. But then that's the first of the magic triangle. Then you have actually the blockchain, right? So now I create stuff, I put stuff on the blockchain. So I truly own it, right?
Oh,
Only
okay.
means I can sell it also, right? So you need to have the blockchain. So things are coming nicely together. But what do you do then? Then you have the metaverse or virtual world, whatever you call it, right?
Yeah.
Right? And that's where you play with it, there where you brag about it, right? Where you sell it and all that stuff, right? So that's why all these three technologies are coming very nicely together, right? And that's part of also what drives us in the future roadmap. Yeah.
So if somebody said, Upland is a gamified asset management system, how does that make you feel? How would that make you feel if that's what they're like? Well, what is Upland? It's a gamified asset management system.
Asset management system sounds for me it's very technical, right? When you're an IT person, right? Where actually you store your data somewhere, you can search it and whatever, right?
Yeah.
For the consumer, it's kind of, right? But with all the other things you do in Upland, like the socializing aspect, you can actually use your assets to do something.
But if you think about it, everything you're doing is in Upland, except for, I would say, maybe racing and treasure hunting, which are really almost they're games built on top of the asset management platform. It's all about managing your assets. If you're communicating with somebody, it's because you're trying to buy, sell, trade, or you're connecting with somebody on an asset. You're moving, I'm logging in because I'm moving my one thing to this, or I'm checking my sales, I'm doing all this. I don't know. I'm trying to go, okay.
That's true, because our roots are because obviously we're based on blockchain, and blockchain is all this idea of digital assets of ownership, right? So that's what we do. But now we're developing things around it, right? You have the meta ventures, right? You have the third-party developer platform, take your stuff elsewhere, right? And then socializing, you're going to go into cafes, you're going to have your wearables on, and brag about them, right? So it's our core, right? I wouldn't say, but I wouldn't say that. I see us much more because we have endless discussions internally. What are we? Right? What is the right term
right.
to say? What's the
Yeah.
one sentence, right? I personally prefer, that's not an official sentence, I personally prefer we are a gaming platform and immersive portal, right? That's where I think
Okay.
we're somehow
Gaming
right.
platform, immersive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you have immersive, you mean you immerse, you go in there, you do stuff there, right? Interact.
Yeah.
I like
then
the
you go
term immersive
elsewhere, yeah.
for
So,
sure.
Yeah, so let's see if I can get the majority vote to use that. But that's we have to see.
Yeah. We did get the wrap it up sign from X1. We could talk to you for hours about Upland, and we got to get you on the show soon again so we can talk to you for an hour again of Upland. But what is it what secrets can you tell us today before tomorrow?
So tomorrow we will announce. Oh, yeah, X1. Oh, yeah, we have to stop now. Yeah, okay, I will.
I like that. Yeah. So is Sandbox going to have their neighborhood in Bermuda? Is that going to be their exclusive neighborhood is in Bermuda?
Where's Bermuda?
I think we should just call that the name of the episode. Where's Bermuda? Dirk doesn't even know where Bermuda is. Where's Bermuda?
And I got to give you credit. That was the best April Fool's one so far.
That was also the best episode you guys did so far.
Oh my God, I legit was losing my mind. I was just like it was such a roller coaster of emotions, and I because
pre-show we're it's fake, and he's like, I'm gonna take it's real. I'm like, okay, and then we just played it.
I'll fake it, because and I was like, yeah, he convinced me it was fake, and I was like, all right, fine, but for the show, I'll just pretend that it's. And then the more, and I was like, I had convinced myself by the end. I was like, no, this is really happening. This is not a drill. This is not a drill. I was so excited. I didn't get one. I'm getting one. This will be the first Genesis Week live one opening that I don't just film. I'm going to be to mint. Yeah. I think More Cheese is going to be filming, but I'm like, nope. I have several million UpX saved up. I was waiting for it, so. I'm not selling everything. Whoever said that, lightning. I'm not selling everything. But hey, if you want to make me a good deal. Whoa, it's Mars, Utah. If you didn't catch the top of the show, go back and watch it.
Yeah, watch the beginning.
Dirk says it's time for you to retire. He said,
are you coming?
Yeah.
Is he doing?
No, he's not.
Okay.
Yeah. He said you put out 2 songs in 4 years, and he did 50 songs a couple Saturdays ago and showed us his top 10, which are pretty damn good.
Yeah, he's like, Eminem has Houdini, but I got the UpX podcast opening sequence on lock. So, just be on notice.
Well, what you have to do is have a different intro now each time.
I sent
into the file. Yeah.
Outstanding.
Yes. All right. Custom intro from co-founder.
I love it.
Doesn't get much more special than
Genesis Week president.
Honestly, I was going to say it doesn't even matter if we don't win Broadcaster of the Year, but it does.
It really does. Leonardo DiCaprio.
No, we're nominated. Are you guys even nominated? Wait, did they get nominated again? I thought it was just one.
Nominated these guys again.
Who allowed that? No, I'm with you. I said, you know what? Even if we don't win, then we become Leonardo DiCaprio. We always get snubbed by the officials. That's fine. We'll be back next year no matter what. So.
But thank you so much. He's like that.
Hey, he's the boss. Are you his boss?
He's the boss.
Oh, really quick. You have that pillow? No, that one. Oh. If you don't see in the studio, they got the X1 pillow going on to show who's the boss.
Honestly, that's so legit.
I saw that earlier. Now, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you having us here again for the 3rd year to do our show. It's such a pleasure and honor to do that. Looking forward to another fun Genesis Week live, and I get to enjoy more and more of it each year. So very excited for that. Anything before we get out of here, Dirk?
No, excited. You're, as I said so many times, you're my Saturday morning drive. So keep on doing this great show, right? And I think you're really good entertainers.
Great. Thank you. That means a lot.
You got anything before we get out of here? Thank you later.
No. Happy Genesis Week. Don't forget to find us. Get your Genesis Week bingo. We'll be at the Mixer tonight at 5:30.
Stop by Spooky Doogies, and we'll find Thank Me Later, his nonchalantly cocky shirt to wear. So it's see you tonight. If not, we'll see you out there in the metaverse.
This one?
Yep. That one.
The Upland Podcast with the property expert. If it's happening in Upland, it's the place you want to check first. With your host, too stupid to win and thank me later. Bringing the strategy, news, and cool charts with all the data. This is Upland, where the metaverse goes.